the fear of knocking on a stranger's door, the fear of hearing no on the other end of the call. But here's the truth. Fear isn't the obstacle. It's the starting line. In this episode, we're digging into the real strategies that help you go from hesitation to high performance. We're also going to cover building a brand that actually attracts business. Let's get into the stuff that really sets you apart. All right, Wei, let's get started with the first question.
First one, how can you make 100 transactions per year?
Oh, I like this right off the bat. 100 transactions a year. This is something that we help a lot of our coaching clients get to. Not trying to flex here, but this is something that I personally have done multiple times a year. Again, I'm not telling you this to impress you. It's more to impress upon you that I got the experience and I got the data as well. I flirted for the first 4 or 5 years in the business that when I got started, I always flirted around 25 to 30 transactions. Here's the jump that you need to do to get to 100. You need to realize you're not going to be able to do this on your own. So first and foremost, take a look at what does 100 transactions look like in your market. Okay. So here in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, average gross commission is approximately $20,000. Easy math, 100 deals, $20,000 a pop. That's a $2 million revenue business every single year. For you to hit that number, you should be investing in having a team. Now, that doesn't mean you need 52 agents or 40 agents like I have, or 13 support staff that I have, okay? But you're going to need, I believe, 2 very crucial people on your team. Number 1 is known as a transaction coordinator. This is the person that's going to make sure that all the paperwork is signed from a listing perspective, a buying perspective, all the waivers and the amendments, and then all the stuff that needs to be done before closing as well as after closing, sending packages, making sure the keys are good, all the paper is sent to the lawyers and the mortgage brokers / loan officers. That's your transaction coordinator. And then I strongly believe the other person that you need on your team is a buyer's agent, a showing assistant, 2 different kind of terms. If you're in the States, I know you guys call it more of a showing assistant, who also will be your listing coordinator, right? So when you have a property that you're about to list, yes, you have for sale sign companies and people who put up the lockbox and stagers and all that kind of stuff, but you still need somebody, in my opinion, to show the property if somebody calls off that for sale sign. The reason you want the buyer's agent / showing assistant, though, is you want to take in all types of real estate inquiries, and then you just don't have enough time, because when you're doing 100 transactions, that means you're actually building a lot of relationships. That's the main thing that you as the realtor should be doing, is building more relationships. In fact, if you nurture an email list, a database, a CRM, okay? Very simple math here, all right? Let's take 5% return on the people that you have in your email list. So let's do some quick math together. And sometimes when I'm going quickly here on a podcast or some of my content that I'm doing, people are like, oh, Jazz, you were a little off on your math. So I want to make sure I did it properly here. Let's take 2,000 people that you're nurturing in your CRM through bi-weekly minimum emails, if not weekly, quarterly phone calls at least 4 months, every 4 months. If you can get to every 3 months, that would be great. 4 to 8 a year of educational events, and then putting out content 2 to 3 times a day. Because if you want to be doing 100 deals a year, you need to be doing more than you're currently doing and more than what the average person is doing. Now, if you have 2,000 people that you're nurturing for a full year, you could be getting a 10% return on your investment, but I want to cut it in half. Let's just say you get a 5% return. Now you have your 100 transactions. So the easiest way to get to 100 transactions would be to nurture a CRM of 2,000 people, get a 5% return, and then make sure you have 2 team members, a transaction coordinator and a buyer's agent / showing assistant, you will not be able to get to 100 transactions on your own. And for somebody, maybe the 1-2 person that's ever done that, they're just an outlier. And it's so rare that in the 21 years that I've been in this business and the last 3 years that I've been coaching some of the top people in the business, that they're doing it on their own. So as the old saying goes, if you want to go fast, go at it alone. But if you want to go far, go at it with a team. What do we got next, Wei?
Hey, I'm 21, and I have a fear of knocking on doors by myself, prospecting and asking for business. What do you recommend?
So as a 21-year-old, what I would recommend, if you have the fear, like you mentioned, I would get with somebody that's doing door knocking already and is doing it at a high level. And the high level, obviously what I'm looking for is somebody who gets conversions from the door knocking. But even if somebody's been doing it for a few months and they're a little bit more confident than you, success leaves clues. They have the confidence already. So what you need to do now, Mr. or Mrs. 21-year-old, is get in touch with that person and say, hey, can I come door knocking with you? Because what you're going to be able to do is learn through osmosis. You're only going to get more confident through experience. I personally wish it worked the other way around. I wish you get confident before and then you can go and get the experience, right? Like I wish you can just buy confidence off the shelf at Walmart. You can't do that. So what do we got to do? We got to put in the work, get the experience, and if you do it over time, you will get more confident. Now, I personally heard kind of 2 parts to that question, Wei. The second being, like, how do I get more comfortable just speaking to people? Just start speaking to more people. Here's an exercise for you, okay? The next time you're in line at a restaurant, fast food restaurant, Starbucks, Tim Hortons, whatever it is, I just want you to open up a conversation with the person in front of you and the person behind you. Now, here's a couple of shortcuts, okay? 1, take a look at what they're wearing. Maybe they're wearing, like for me, if somebody's wearing like a Dallas Cowboy hat, a Pittsburgh Penguin shirt, very easy connection I can make, right? Those are my 2 favorite sports teams. So I'm going to make mention of that. Maybe it's just even starting off with saying, like, what excites you right now? Now, that might be an odd question to ask somebody if you're not comfortable, but here's the thing. I really want you to start to get comfortable. This is to everybody, right? I really want you to start to get comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's where all the growth happens. It's really cool to see someone that was afraid to speak to people and then 3, 6, 10 months later, they're just yippity-yappeting everywhere. And the way that they did it is because they just put themselves out there a little bit more. And yes, you're going to be weird to some people, but that's okay. You are weird, just like I am. But it's that uniqueness that actually showcases authenticity. Let me just say that again, because we're so afraid of putting ourselves out there because of our insecurities or our quirkiness or whatever it is. But it is that uniqueness, that weirdness that makes you authentic and makes you or gives you the ability to connect with more people. And I hope you caught what I said there. I said connect with more people. I didn't say connect with everyone. You will never connect with everyone. That's not your job. Your job is to attract, bring into your world people that are like-minded. And the reason you want to get like-minded people in your community, in your crew, in your network, whatever you want to call it, is because they're just actually going to be easier to deal with. You're actually going to enjoy the time you spend with them. I always tell the story as a real estate agent, right? Like, I want to enjoy the experience I'm having with somebody in a car when I'm about to show them a property, because it's going to be a half a day, 3-4 hours. So it'd be kind of cool if we have some of the same likes and maybe some of the same dislikes, Not to say that we have to agree on everything, but it just makes that day more enjoyable. And if it's more enjoyable for you, chances are it's going to be more enjoyable for the prospect / client. And people just tend to buy more with people that they like and experiences that they've enjoyed. And so the best and most effective way to get outside your comfort zone is to push yourself outside your comfort zone. And an easy way to do that is just find somebody who's doing something at a very high level. And yes, it's going to cost money, but you'll always get the money back. In fact, the one thing you'll never get back is your time. So you want to cut your learning curve in half. There's nothing wrong with not being comfortable right now. In fact, I commend you for asking the question. I commend everybody who reaches out to me on the side, on a DM, or when I meet them in person at events, or reaching out here through the podcast, because you are wanting to get better. I see it, I hear it, I feel it all the time. But that old saying that knowledge is power, I think is wrong. Or at bare minimum, it's not a finished statement, because I think that knowledge is potential power. The use of knowledge is true power. What's next, Wei?
I've been struggling with fear of making calls, but after watching your videos, I gain a bit of more confidence. Do you have any advice for me?
Well, I'm glad that you're starting to get more confident just by watching my videos. That's why I put them out there. Like, I'm not charging people through my content, guys. Like, go find it, go look at more, watch more. I put out a bunch of scripts. If you want some more phone scripts, just email us at info@jazztackr.ca. It's info@jazztackr.ca, or go to meetjazztackr.com/podcast. You can ask more questions. That's where all these questions are coming in from, by the way. But there's a little note section there that you can say, hey, can I get some phone scripts? I think one easy way to get more confident with making phone calls is doing it with other people. I found that when I do role-playing workshops / seminars, people come into these and they tell me all the time, they're like, I am so fearful of making phone calls. Like, I'm either fearful of actually picking up the phone is something that they say, or they say, look, I'm okay with picking up the phone, Jazz. I just don't know what the hell to say. Or I sold a property to somebody 6 years ago. How do I reconnect with them? Or, it's my spouse's friend's cousin. How do I approach that? And after they role play it with other people and they see other people making phone calls and getting results, that inspires them. And so to the person who asked this question, thank you. But what I really want you to do is maybe start like a little group. There's somebody that you know in your circle or on social media, same way you probably found me, that is also fearful of making phone calls. And so why not reach out to them and say, okay, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to make phone calls for a couple of hours, right? And here's another hack. Maybe somebody is really good at making phone calls, but they're not good at social media, but you're comfortable with social media. Then you say, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to get me pumped up and inspired to make phone calls, and I'm going to get you pumped up and inspired and motivated to shoot videos, and we're going to do it together. Now, you can't find somebody. If you're in the Greater Toronto area, come on to one of our workshops. Send us an email really quickly, info@jazztackr.ca. I want more information about your workshops / seminars. If you're not in the GTA, no problem. We're going to be doing these on webinars as well. I'm figuring out a way to just make those role-playing webinars more effective. We actually have one coming up where I'm going to be doing objection handling. Email me, info@jazztackr.ca, and say, I want more information about those webinars. What I really want you to do, you don't need to reach out to us or me. What I want you to do is get into an environment where it's already happening, because a beautiful thing happens when you do things with other people. You see what's working for them, what's not working for them, and that's how you get better. What do we got next, Wei?
How can realtors stand out in a saturated market and create a personal brand that attracts clients?
Great question. I think one way to do it is consistently putting out long form recordings. And what do I mean by long form recordings? For argument's sake, let's call long form recordings 20 minutes. And the reason I want you to go down this route is because 20 minutes gives you the ability to start getting more comfortable with putting yourself out there. And it also allows for more education. Like, there's only so much context someone can get in a 60-second or 90-second reel, as they call it, like on Instagram and Facebook, or like some type of YouTube short or TikTok, right? When you go 20 minutes, especially if you do it from an educational perspective with a guest that is an expert on that topic, right? So side note, you don't need to be the expert. In fact, guys, if you go back to my recordings 5-6 years ago, when I was educating people about real estate, I was never the expert. Fuck, I don't even think I'm the expert now. What I do is make sure I am resourceful in finding the experts, and then I become the authority through association because I'm sitting with the guests asking the questions that I'm naturally curious about, but also that I found that my clients, my prospects, people in my community are wanting to get answers for. And so I became the messenger more than the actual expert. The neat thing was I was actually learning at the same time, which didn't make me maybe the top expert in that on that topic or in that field, but it definitely educated me more than I was in the past or before I did those recordings. But when you do 20 minutes, it also allows people to see some of your authenticity, your unique traits, characteristics, because you're going a little longer form. Now, the nice thing with the going 20 minutes, though, you kind of knock off two birds with one stone. You take that 20-minute recording, send it out to your database, put it out on YouTube, but then you can cut short little clips from the 20 minutes. So again, you're knocking off two birds with one stone, allowing people to get educated and deciding on their own time, because they get to watch this at home, watch it at work, listen to it in the car, on the treadmill, taking their dog for a walk. They get to make the decision if you're someone that they actually connect with. And make no mistake about it. Your personal brand is just a new sexy word for your reputation. That's it. Don't overthink this. Your personal brand, okay, is now what we would call, back in the days, your reputation. So this is just in the digital format now, and you have to be where people are on this device. And so if you're confused by all these words nowadays, don't be. Because at the end of the day, you want to ensure and be in control as much as possible of what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. That's what the reputation means, right? Now, we just can get in touch with so many people by the click of a button. Meaning by putting out a long-form piece of content, you then can put out more short videos, and then you have more at-bats. You have more opportunities for more awareness. You can't sell anyone anything until you have their awareness. So where can you get awareness in 2025? On 7-8 different platforms. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn. There's a couple of more. And if you're not there, what's happening is other people in the business, your competition in your marketplace, are there. And they're just going to get the awareness. And then if the person watching connects with them, they're going to end up doing the business. Was that our last question, buddy?
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Great job, Weiwei, to you, the person who's watching right now, and for everybody who's listening again to the podcast while they're in their car or working out. I urge you, go to meetjazztakar.com/podcast, meetjazztakar.com/podcast to get your questions answered. Have the best week ever.